Without any question at all, this is indeed the day that the Lord has made. And we can rejoice and be exceedingly glad in it. There are too many of y'all that I can't mention y'all your names now. Too much love in the room that I've had from 16 years ago. Too many memories, tears, laughter, but a whole lot of dancing and wonderful music. It is such a joy to see so many of you faces that have been around as long as me, as well as some brand new lovely faces in the house. And I am so glad to have this opportunity to be with you. I won't get into a whole bunch of names. I get to see one of you every once in a while. Some families have actually come all the way 35 miles to Congress, where I am now, pastoring a church, and they stopped in. I even got some cornbread, or hey, from Fred over there. Katie and I get to go to lunch every once in a while on the Upper West Side, and so I've kept a few connections with you all. And perhaps the most important thing is I had an Amtrak ride to Emmaus with Jorge. And during that phenomenal spiritual ride, he invited me to come and preach. I am so delighted and so thankful. Join me in the prayer preceding my message. Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet, Lord, while I run this race. Guide my feet, Lord, while I run this race. 'Cause I don't want to run this race in vain. Stand by me. Stand by me, Lord, while I run this race. Jesus, stand by me, Lord, while I run this race. Stand by me, Lord, while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. I'm your child. I'm your child. I'm your child while I run this race. I'm your child, Lord, while I run this race. I'm your child, Lord, while I run this race. Lord, I don't want to run this race in vain. What I love about Jesus, there's a whole lot of stuff I love about Jesus. What I love about Jesus is how he's so countercultural, reverse all of the opinions that the culture would bring. Instead of horses and carriages, bombs and military parades, powers and powers, Jesus kind of reduces all of that to a child. And a little child should lead them. That's the power. If you want to get to heaven, you got to be like a what? Like a child. And this text talks about the fact that the creation will be liberated when the children of God stand up, are revealed, and show the world who God really is. The text so creatively read for you from Romans, the 8th chapter, for those of you who've already studied all this stuff, know that the 8th chapter of Romans is kind of the centerfold of Paul's theological foundations. If you want to know who Paul is, you need to read Romans. If you want to know who Paul really stands on, if you want to know his foundational base where he leaps out and everywhere else, Sometimes right, sometimes wrong. Paul got a little twisted when he talked about women. He got a little twisted when he talked about slaves. He got a little twisted when he said something about being obedient to illegal governments. Got a little twisted, but I like that about Paul. He's a sinner like us. He makes mistakes. But the 8th chapter of Romans is critically important. Starts off after the 7th chapter. If you know anything about Romans, the 7th chapter is where Paul gets all twisted up and says, I don't understand myself. I don't know how to do the things I want to do. The very things I don't want to do, that's what I do. And then he tries to find a way to fix himself. And he gets to the place and he finally says, well, wretched man am I. How do I fix myself? And he finally says, thanks be to God. Because he gets it. He can't fix himself, Alan. It's only the grace of God. The 8th chapter is so important. It starts off with, there is now no more condemnation if you know Jesus. Paul wrestled with the law, and let me demythologize some. Did I say that right, Katie? I'm gonna be like Dwight. Did I mythologize that right? Rudolf Bultmann talks about the demythalization of your faith and your theology. Let me demythalize some of those words, such as you heard the word flesh and body. Well, flesh is more than just our flesh. It is a worldview. So when Paul talks about you can't commit yourself to the flesh or you will die, he's not talking about these beautiful bodies we have. But he's not only not talking about that either, but he's talking about a worldview where you put your trust in flesh things, politics and social things, and people and persons who would discriminate and oppress us. He's saying if you put your trust in those kind of powers, you will die. But if you put your trust in the Spirit, you will live. This is all in the 8th chapter of Romans. Really great chapter. And of course, you know that those wonderful words from Romans 12. I jumped out of 12. I mean, you got to go there. You know, you got to be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Romans 12:1. And all throughout this, but the foundational reading, it is still in the 8th chapter where he talks about the fact that the whole creation, not just us, it ain't a personal thing anymore. The whole creation is waiting. And then he uses this word, groan. Now, people like Jorge and Katie and some of y'all preachers out there, you know, when you're reading scripture, you trip over words, you know. I mean, you start reading the scripture and you pick this word and you pick that word, and deacon and sister, you figure out what you're going to preach about, and you think you're going to preach on that, and then all of a sudden, like that song you said, you don't know what you know, you don't know what you feel. All of a sudden, that word just got me. Groan. I got stuck on it. I tried to get by it. That wasn't my first topic. My first topic was something else. Dance was always in it. I always think of Martha and the wonderful dance that happens in this. Oh, I love your dance so much. I can't get away from dance. And so my topic is called, as you may have seen it or not, it's called Dance with the Groan. Dance with the Groan. And I can give you 3 points real quick. You want them? I'm going to tell you anyway. Dance in the groan, dance through the groan, dance with the groan. Dance with the groan. First of all, you got to look at that word groan. Groan. Yearning, longing, laboring, birthing cry, distraction, pushing, straining towards life, soul stretching, deep calling, soul ache, heart cry, spirit sigh, inner rumble, sacred ache, holy unrest, deep stirring, spirit pull, inner trembling, the holy ache of becoming. You said it rightly. The holy ache of becoming. The spirit's deep sigh, the earth's laboring cry, the soul's push towards liberation, the deep rumble of justice, the inward stretch of glory, the sacred pressure of new creation, the spirit birth beneath our words. Paul goes on to say later on, the spirit sighs too deep for our words. the cosmic contraction from the breakthrough, the heart cry that refuses to spare holy resistance. That's the groan. The groan, as Martin Luther King used to say, is like the arc of the universe is long, but what? It bends towards justice. I want to say it groans towards justice. May be long, may not be in our time schedule. If it takes the patience, and the scripture said it so well, we got to wait eagerly because we know we got something to wait for, but it groans, it bends, it has a deep sigh that goes way beyond our belly and beyond our mind. Just like the song said, there are things going on that we don't even know about, but they're there. And if you sit long enough and pray long enough and listen long enough and love long enough and fight long enough, they will come out. I want you to think of a groan like Frankie Beverly would say. It ain't all bad. You know Frankie Beverly, that song? Sunshine and rain, like a joy and a pain. That's what a groan, a spiritual groan is like. It hurts, but it helps. It aches, but it transcends. It feels uncomfortable, but it makes comfort happen in liberation. And as this text says, not only does it make it personally happen, but it affects the whole creation. All of God's creation. Groan in. Dance in the groan. Paul makes the proper statement that not only is the creation groaning, but we groan inwardly as well. We don't have to talk about the creation groaning, right? Talked to Derek on the way in here. He said, man, we didn't know we were going to have floods or not in the church. We don't have to talk about that. We've had the heat wave. We know what the smoke is in the sky that flows by us, even from Canada, from wherever. I ain't blaming Canada. We got our own smoke. I was listening to President Trump talking about blaming Canada and wanting to give another tax or some other foolishness like that. We got our own smoke. And our own smoke is not always just in the atmosphere. It's the smoke of the policies that we do sometime in this country. Well, we got a lot of smoke around here, locking up our lungs and holding us back and slowing us down and shooting us in the back and main by mistake. We got a lot of smoke that's going on. But we groan inwardly too. Each of us, we groan inwardly because we take all of this stuff in. And so Paul wants you to know, not only does the creation groan, but we groan together. We are all a part of this thing. And so my first statement is, we dance in the groan. Everywhere. I was listening to someone have a conversation. They were saying, it's just too hard to take care of the earth. It's just too hard to recycle. It takes a lot of work to recycle things and to think about what's going on. Yeah, but it's too hard until we all kill each other. Step by step, slowly by slowly. And we are not separated. We are together. We are connected. And so our systems are connected. Our soul groans. Dance through the groan. Well, you know, the groan's going to happen, no matter what you say. It's going to happen. And you're going to have to find a way to get through it. You're going to have to travel through this groan, but also know that the groan is a good thing. Cornel West writes in his book entitled Race Matters, and there's one liner in there that he says, Sephora, he says, the problem with the Black situation is not economic, it's not educational, not political. He said it's nihilism. It is absolutely nothingness. It is a feeling of nothing, a feeling of abject hopelessness. There ain't no way out of this thing. And he says that's the problem with the black situation. I submit to you, it ain't just a black situation. It's all of our situation. When you don't feel the groan, when you don't feel some pain, when you don't feel the struggle, I'm suggesting you are nothingness. And you may not even be alive. The groan means something's going on. And if you think of it again, not as an all bad thing, but like Frankie Beverly says, it's like sunshine and rain, joy and pain. It's a good thing because I want to know that if things are going bad, I want to be in it, I want to feel it, and I want to do something about it. So when I feel that groan in my belly, I'm going to have joy and pain because that means God may be calling me to do something about it. And I thank God for it. It's like dying slowly with no pain. And that's what we do when we let the creation go. We're all dying slowly and ignoring and denying. But we have to find a way through, through the groan. I love the African-American song. It says, nobody knows the trouble I see. Nobody knows the trouble I see. My wife's a great singer. I should have her do the singing here. Great singer. Nobody knows but Jesus. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes, oh yes, Lord. Sometimes I'm level to the ground. Oh yes, Lord. Nobody? Nobody knows the trouble I see. Nobody knows but nobody knows the trouble I see. Glory, hallelujah. But guess what's on the other side of that song? Guess what's on the other side of that song? I won't sing it, but I'll tell you. The other song says, I'm so glad trouble don't last always. I'm so glad trouble don't last always. No matter how dark the night may be, there's a songwriter who says there is a bright side somewhere. And don't you stop until you find it. So it may be dark and it may be groaning, but there is a bright side somewhere. Brother talked to me today about faith, right? Sometimes that face is dark and you cannot see your way, but God will shine a light. The mere fact you are sitting here shows you have faith. You have faith. Don't deny it. Live on it. Let that light just shine so that you know God is with you in spite of the difficulty of the housing situation. God is in it and God's going to move something. Our speaker says sometimes, right now, God is already working it out because you asked for it. It's going to happen. Live through, dance through the groan, and recognize that the groan is not all bad. It means something needs to get fixed. It means something we need to do. Something God is working on is in that groan. So finally, tribute to Martha Chapman in particular. You got to dance through this thing. You got to dance through this groan. You know, you did a beautiful job. Thank you so much. I love the way you all dance, and I just love it. But you have to dance with, not through, with the groan. That is to say, the groan is your dance partner. I know it feels like you don't want that as your dance partner, but it is your dance partner. When you dance with the groan, you're dancing with God who's trying to get this stuff right. When you dance with the groan, don't try to run from it. Yeah, you got to go through it. And every once in a while, the groan is too much. Yeah, God understands that, and you will get grace to get in it and through it. But when you wake up and you look at it face to face, dance with the groan. And recognize that you are a partner with God for liberation, for freedom, for radical inclusivity, to make sure everybody has a place in this place. Dance with the groan. Let the groan know you love it. Chantel and I do Tai Chi. Our Tai Chi instructor is not about the military part of it, even though that's the part I would like, but she don't do that. She's into healing arts. And every once in a while, she tells us how to massage our heart. She says, your kidney needs some love. She said, here's how you make your love your stomach and your bowels and your lungs. She would show us how to move in a way. I know you dancers know this. Move in a way to massage the insides of your heart. I love her for that. But that's what dance does too. When you start dancing, you're massaging something inside of you that gives you strength to rise above all of the storms of life. When you start dancing and when you make music happen, Katie, it does something. And I have a friend who used to say, when you moan, when you spiritually moan, the devil can't understand what you're saying. Ha! And sometimes you don't need a word. You don't need all the right scripture. You don't need it. Just kind of moan once in a while. Kind of goes with a groan, doesn't it? Oh, yes. Dance with the groan. Dance with justice. Dance when you feel excluded because somehow you know God is in it and God don't like ugly. If a groaning is going on, God is in it, and we want to dance with that groan. We want to partner with that groan. We want to make sure that God knows that we are also there. So I conclude. I will conclude with a whole bunch of stuff, such as Mary, Mary's song, take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I ought to have Katie get up here and do the electric slide with me again. But this is what I want to close with. This is what I want to close with. Just got to find it, that's all. Oh, here we go. I danced in the morning when the world was young. I danced on the moon and the stars and the sun. I came down from heaven and I danced on earth. At Bethlehem, I had my birth. Dance, dance, everybody dance. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be. I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. I danced for the scribe and the Pharisee, but they would not dance. Poor suckers. They would not follow me. I danced for the fishermen, for James and John. They came with me, and the dance went on. I danced on the Sabbath, and I cured the lame. I love Jesus. God, I love Jesus. The holy people said it was a shame. They whipped me and stripped me. They hung me high. They left me there on a cross to die. I danced on a Friday when the world turned black. It's hard to dance with the devil on your back. They buried my body and thought I had gone. Guess what? But I am the dance, and I still dance on. They cut me down and they hung me high. I am the life that will never, never die. I'll live in you. If you live in me, I am the Lord of the dance, said he. Dance, dance, everybody dance. I am the Lord of the dance, said he. I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. That's it. Dance.